Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber are stirring up controversy again, and the internet cannot stop talking about what happened during their recent Twitch live stream. If you love pop culture drama and want all the details about what's really going on with one of Hollywood's most talked about couples, then you're in exactly the right place because we're diving deep into this situation. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right now because we bring you fresh entertainment news every single day, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. So here's what went down that has everyone losing their minds over the Biebers once again. Hailey and Justin were doing a live stream on Twitch, and fans were watching every single move they made and analyzing every word that came out of their mouths. During this stream, there was a moment that caught everyone's attention and sent social media into an absolute frenzy. People started bringing up an old conversation about whether Hailey is secretly running Justin's entire career behind the scenes and acting as his unofficial manager. Now, before we get into the specific moment that set everything off, we need to talk about the context here. There's been speculation for quite some time now that Hailey has taken on a much bigger role in Justin's professional life than most people realize. This all started gaining traction when Justin parted ways with his longtime manager Scooter Braun. When that happened, the rumor mill went into overdrive, with insiders claiming that Hailey basically stepped in to fill that void. Reports started circulating that she was attending all of his business meetings and that she had become his main advisor for pretty much everything related to his career. The specific moment from the Twitch stream that has everyone talking involved the two of them discussing potential set lists for upcoming performances. Now, here's the thing that people are freaking out about. During their conversation, Hailey started giving her input about which songs should be included, and she seemed to have pretty strong opinions about the whole thing. She mentioned songs like All That Matters and was actively participating in the creative decision-making process for what Justin should perform. To some people, this seemed totally normal and sweet, like a supportive wife helping her husband plan his shows. But to others, this was proof positive that Hailey has way too much control over Justin's career and that she's essentially become his manager without the official title. The comments section absolutely exploded, with people taking sides on this issue. Some fans were saying that this crosses a major line and that Hailey needs to stay in her lane and let Justin make his own professional decisions. They argued that she doesn't have the experience or the qualifications to be making these kinds of calls about his music career. Other people jumped to her defense, saying that this is completely normal behavior for a married couple and that, of course, she's going to have opinions about what her husband does professionally. What makes this whole situation even more interesting is that there were also rumors swirling around that Justin might be gearing up to announce a major tour very soon. People who claim to have inside information say that he's been in rehearsals and that something big is coming down the pipeline. Some speculated he might be preparing for Coachella, which happens in April, but others think the timeline doesn't quite add up for that and that he's actually getting ready for something else entirely. Either way, the fact that Hailey was involved in discussing set lists seemed to confirm to a lot of people that she really is playing a major role in his career decisions. But here's where things get really complicated. This isn't just some random accusation that popped up out of nowhere during this one live stream. These rumors about Hailey being Justin's de facto manager have been circulating for well over a year now. There was actually a report from a major entertainment news outlet that claimed an insider source said Hailey has taken control and is heavily involved in everything Justin does professionally. According to this alleged insider, whenever there's a business meeting for Justin, she's in the room, and she's become his voice in these situations. The source apparently said that they're becoming a power couple and that she's a huge part of everything he's working on. When these initial reports came out, people went absolutely wild with speculation. Fans who have been following Justin since his early career days were concerned that Hailey was trying to control every aspect of his life. Some people even suggested that she was the reason he and Scooter Braun ended their professional relationship, because she wanted to be the one calling all the shots. The narrative that developed was that Hailey wasn't content with just being Justin's wife, but that she wanted total control over both his personal life and his professional career. Now, Hailey herself has actually addressed these rumors directly, and she made it pretty clear what she thinks about the whole situation. She was asked in an interview about the craziest headline she'd ever read about herself, and she brought up this exact topic. She said that one of the most ridiculous things she'd seen written about her was the claim that she was doing management for her husband and taking over as his manager. Her response was basically that this idea is completely absurd because first of all, that's her husband, and second of all, she has her own entire business to run. She pointed out that both of them have full careers and their own professional lives, and that the idea of her becoming his manager is just totally far-fetched and not based in reality. When you really think about it, there's an interesting question at the heart of all this drama. Where exactly is the line between being a supportive spouse who gives advice and being someone who's overstepping boundaries by trying to control your partner's career? This is something that probably a lot of couples deal with in various ways, but when you're talking about two incredibly famous people with massive public profiles, everything gets magnified and scrutinized to an extreme degree. There are people who genuinely don't see any problem whatsoever with what Hailey is doing. They point out that it's totally natural for married couples to collaborate and give each other input on professional decisions. After all, if you're spending your life with someone you presumably trust their judgment and want their opinion on important matters, why wouldn't Justin want to hear what Hailey thinks about his set list or his business decisions? She's someone who understands the entertainment industry really well because she grew up in it with her famous family, and she's built her own successful brand and business ventures. She knows how social media works, and she understands what resonates with audiences and what doesn't. From this perspective, it actually makes perfect sense that Justin would value her input and want her involved in these conversations. On the flip side, there are people who feel very strongly that this dynamic is unhealthy and problematic. They worry that Justin isn't being allowed to make his own choices and that Hailey has too much influence over him. Some fans have expressed concern that this could negatively impact his music and his artistic choices if he's constantly deferring to her opinions instead of following his own creative instincts. There's also a larger conversation happening about gender dynamics and how we view men and women in relationships. Would people be making such a big deal about this if the roles were reversed and it was Justin giving Hailey advice about her business? That's a question worth considering. What's really fascinating is how polarized people's reactions are to this situation. There doesn't seem to be much middle ground. People either think Hailey is being an amazing supportive wife who's helping her husband navigate his career, or they think she's being controlling and overstepping major boundaries. Very few people seem to be in the camp of thinking this is just a normal married couple doing normal married couple things that really isn't worth getting worked up about one way or the other. The reality is that we don't actually know what goes on behind closed doors in their relationship and what their dynamic really looks like. We're seeing tiny snapshots of their lives through social media and live streams and public appearances, and then filling in the blanks with our own assumptions and interpretations. Maybe Hailey really is heavily involved in Justin's career decisions, and maybe that works perfectly fine for them and their relationship. Or maybe she just occasionally gives her opinion when asked, and the whole manager thing is completely overblown. Without being inside their relationship, we simply can't know for sure. What we can say is that this latest incident with the Twitch livestream has definitely reignited all of these conversations and debates. People are once again questioning what Hailey's role is in Justin's life and career and whether that role is appropriate or problematic. The fact that this keeps coming up over and over again suggests that it's striking a nerve with people for whatever reason. Maybe it taps into larger anxieties about relationships and control and independence. Or maybe people just love having something to argue about when it comes to celebrity couples. One thing that's worth noting is that relationships between two people who are both in the entertainment industry can be particularly complicated. Both Justin and Hailey have their own careers and their own public images to manage and their own business interests to protect. When you add in the fact that they're married and presumably want to support each other, that can create situations where the personal and professional get really tangled up together. Drawing clear boundaries in that kind of situation probably isn't always easy or straightforward. At the end of the day, this whole situation raises interesting questions about what we expect from celebrity relationships and how much we think we're entitled to have opinions about how other people conduct their marriages. Justin and Hailey are real people with a real relationship, and presumably they've figured out what works for them, even if it doesn't look like what everyone else thinks it should look like. Whether Hailey is heavily involved in his career decisions or not is ultimately between the two of them and not really anyone else's business, even though that won't stop people from having very strong opinions about it. The Twitch livestream drama is just the latest chapter in the ongoing saga of public fascination with the Biebers and their relationship. People seem endlessly interested in analyzing every interaction between them and trying to figure out what's really going on behind the scenes. This probably isn't going to be the last time we hear speculation about Hailey's involvement in Justin's career, and it definitely won't be the last time people have heated debates about whether she's being supportive or controlling. What's your take on this whole situation? Do you think Hailey is overstepping by getting involved in Justin's professional decisions, or do you think she's just being a good wife who wants to help her husband succeed? These are the kinds of questions that don't have easy answers, but they certainly make for interesting conversations. The Biebers continue to be one of the most talked about couples in entertainment, and based on reactions to this Twitch stream, that's not going to change anytime soon. If you enjoyed diving into this drama with me today, then make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you never miss out on the latest entertainment news and celebrity gossip, because we're bringing you fresh content every single day, and there's always something interesting happening in the world of pop culture that's worth discussing.